The Chargers have a huge matchup this week with a divisional opponent, and we are looking for them to bury the Raiders and get into the bye week at 2-2.
You are Locked On Chargers, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Chargers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, and welcome into the Locked On Chargers podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Wade, joined as always by my co-host, David Drogemeyer, and we've been covering the Chargers together now for 8 seasons, but this is our 6th year as the host of the Locked On Chargers podcast, bringing you your team every day. Thank you guys, as always, for making us your first listen today, and to make sure you never miss the show, go subscribe or follow for free on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel, and listen wherever you get your podcast from. David, what do we got today?
It's Raiders week. That means we got to get into our keys for success on offense and on defense and finish things up with our bold and game predictions.
Absolutely. Everyone knows what it is. It's Chargers, Raiders. Throw the records out, right? Nothing matters going into this one, but the Chargers absolutely must take care of business, and it starts with them just pouring it on, hopefully, the Raiders defense. But this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKDOWNNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. David, to me, there's a lot of reasons why I want the Chargers to bury the Raiders, mainly because it's the Raiders. But I think they can do it, and I think the reason I want to see it so badly is because, there's only so much convincing they can do for us in a game like this, going up against a 1-2 Raiders team, and their only win is against the terrible Broncos team. So we don't know how much we can actually gain from this or how much confidence we can actually get from the Chargers, but a huge step in the right direction for me would be go out and don't leave a doubt. Go out there, you have enough, even with some of the injuries we'll talk about, to go out and bury this Raiders team, and I want to see them do it to get a convincing win because it's been a long time.
And they absolutely can. They absolutely can. When you look at the 3 teams that the Raiders have played, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is not that great. The Broncos offense is a disaster. We know that. But the Buffalo Bills are a pretty darn good offense, and I like to think that the Chargers offense is pretty much on par with the Buffalo Bills, and I feel like the Chargers should absolutely hang a big number on the Raiders secondary. This team, besides Max Crosby, Daniel, there's not a lot of superstars on that side of the football. There just isn't. There's a lot of opportunity for the Chargers to go out there and score a lot of points.
Yeah, and I mean, so far they've been pretty average, right? They did get blown out by the Bills, gave up 38 points. They're 24th in points allowed, which means bottom third of the NFL, right? But they're also 27th in red zone touchdown percentage allowed. They're 26th in third down conversion percentage allowed. Give the fans some hope heading into the bye week. Go bury this team. The Raiders are pretty average below average against the run and the pass.
Yep.
Even with the Mike Williams part of it, because that's going to be a big part, is how do you not skip it or, not skip a beat when you're missing such a big part of your offense, and that's going to be a big thing in this one. But to me, go put them away. And it takes 2 to tango, right? The Chargers need their defense to come through as well. But, I just want to see this Chargers offense go out and pour it on them, right? And once they have the lead, late in the game, put it away, right? Go up 14, go up 17, go up 21 on them. Leave no doubt. Don't stop scoring. Run up the scoreboard. I'd love to see it from the Chargers. And also finding their running game in general, because that is something that just hasn't been there the last couple of games. And to me, I still believe in it. I still believe in the new scheme. There's a lot of reasons you wouldn't. Josh Kelly, 11 carries for 12 yards in the last game, right? Running backs overall in the last couple of games, 31 carries, 67 yards, 2.2 yards per carry. Could be getting Austin Eckler back, right? And that's a huge part of this. A limited participant all week. We talked about it a couple shows ago. Hey, if it's iffy, he probably sits. And he said the bye week doesn't matter at all. I don't believe him. I think if it's close.
Yeah.
But at practice, right, the Chargers know how much they need this game. And I still believe in this rushing offense. And they're going up against a team that's allowing 127.6 rushing yards per game. I'm looking for them to find it again, David. We saw it week 1. Find it again in week 4.
Well, it's going to help you control the football and control possession of the ball as well if you're able to run the football a little bit more effectively. And, the Raiders have given up 382 rushing yards through the first 3 games of this season, so it's absolutely there. I mean, that's over 4.3 yards per carry, and the Chargers need to get that right. I mean, they can't put everything on Justin Herbert's golden right arm, as we know that it is. You need to mix it up and really have a better sense of balance. I want a better balanced offense in this one because I want to see them take some deep shots. I want to see them take some deep play action shots, and that has to be set up with at least the threat of a quality running game. I think that's something that's definitely been missing, and I want to make sure that you pass first, get that big lead, and then put things away and finish with the football. Finish running the ball, burn that clock, and go put that game away.
That's a big thing because, like, if you want to put teams away, right, you run the football at the end of the games. And last week, the Chargers had a situation where if they could run the ball effectively, they could have ended it on their own terms and gotten a first down by running the football, still burnt off the clock they needed to, and they could have kneeled it out for a win. They weren't able to do it. So I'm looking for them to get up in this game, pour it on, be able to run this game out and keep putting up more points. But one of the biggest points of this game that is going to really, I think, have a huge impact on it is whether or not Max Crosby plays, right? Limited participant this week on Wednesday, did not participate in practice on Thursday. With star players like that, you never want to rule them out. And it feels like the Chargers, those dudes always give it a go. Like, I mean, no matter kind of what the situation is, obviously not a good sign that he's progressively gotten less practice throughout the week, but he's a star player. They're going to give him every chance. And he's all they have. Like, he is all they have. If he's out there, David, like, limiting him is, he's enemy number one. Public enemy number one. Easily the best player on the Raiders defense, the only star player on the Raiders defense. And last season, he absolutely tore the Chargers up in one of those games and had 10 run stops. It's not just pass rush. It's run stopping as well. You have to account for him. In that last game, the Chargers had a 4th and 1. They went with a fullback sneak or fullback dive. And it was Danielle Hunter coming from the weak side that ended up beating Donald Parham on a block and getting that stop with the game on the line, right? Like, I don't want to put Donald Parham on Max Crosby in big situations running the football.
Please don't do that
You can double team him and run him right at him. I mean, he had 8 run stops in week 1 last year against the Chargers. He had 41 run stops all year last year, and he had 10 of them against the Chargers. 25% of his production came against the Chargers in 2 games, and he led the league by 8. So basically, he can thank the Chargers for that. But in all ways, if he's out there, David, he has to be accounted for.
Oh, 100%. Like, the dude's a monster. Like, he is a game wrecker. He has the ability to destroy the football game if you let him. And he is quick off the football. I mean, it seems like he's almost getting like a half a second head start almost, just the way he gets out of the blocks. He's explosive. I mean, he's explosive against the pass, against the run. The one thing, though, to know is that he pretty much stays almost predominantly on the right side.
He rushes up.
He rushes against the right tackle, so you know what you need to do to protect him and help him, get him some chips, get him an extra blocker, put that running back on that side to help him out. That's definitely something that you need to do. Another key for me is to get the rookie Quentin Johnston the ball early. I want you to get his confidence up, get him a couple of catches to make him feel good, and then start manufacturing some runways for him to get him out in open space and allow his yak ability to really take over. And then I want to see some of those deep shots because you've been sending him deep on deep routes throughout the first 3 games of the season. Now it's time to go throw him the football in those situations. You've kind of been setting it up. Now it's time to go cash in. I definitely want to see them feature Quentin Johnston a little bit and get his confidence going in this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge part of it. I mean, Mike Williams is done for the season. You need him to step up into that role, and you're not expecting him to totally replace that production, but you're hoping that he can help, alleviate some of the damage that's caused to this offense by missing Mike Williams the rest of the season. And there's a lot of things he does well. He's not going to do what Mike Williams does well, but you're hoping they can find the best ways to use Quentin Johnston because we all know he has plenty of athletic ability. Yeah. He has plenty of special traits. Find a way to highlight that in the offensive game plan this week and get him involved early because he does seem like a player that can kind of feed on that attentiveness, right? Can stay more locked in if he is more involved. The hands will be better. I think all of those things work. But defensively is the other way the Chargers have to finish this game and make sure they go win this game because we've seen enough terrible performances by this defense. And for the Raiders, it couldn't be more clear what they have to do, and it's stopping the dynamic duo of Josh Jacobs and Davante Adams. So we're going to get in that and the rest of our keys for success defensively coming up right after this. First, though, I do need to tell you guys about DoorDash, which is my absolute favorite thing during the football season. And now, guys, if you need fresh groceries for the week, but you don't have time to go to the store, try grocery delivery from DoorDash. I mean, you have Monday Night Football, you have Thursday Night Football, you have Sunday Football. Grocery shopping opportunities have gone way down during the football season. DoorDash is here for you. You've trusted DoorDash to deliver your restaurant favorites, and now you can get grocery delivery that actually delivers too. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you will find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each and every order. And during football Sunday, you're not going to want to leave your seat, right? You don't want to leave your house. You don't want to miss any action. Use DoorDash. Stay home. They will bring the goods to you. And if you want even more value, you can save on all of your grocery and restaurant favorites with a $0 delivery fee on all eligible orders with DashPass membership. Right now, guys, since you listen to this show, you can get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to $20 value when you use the code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply, but that's 50% off up to $20, no minimum subtotal, and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code LOCKEDONNFL. Don't forget, that's LOCKEDONNFL for 50% off your first order with DoorDash. I also need to tell you guys, if you're trying to go to the game this weekend, you need to be hitting up our friends over at Game Time, because buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful, and Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, and comedy near you. I already checked it out, guys. There's plenty of good deals at Game Time right now for this Chargers-Raiders game on Sunday. If you're trying to go to the game, get your tickets with Game Time, because I will guarantee you're going to get the best price. The Game Time guarantee means you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section in a row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. And we all know, guys, if you're going to go to an event, you're going to use somewhere to get your tickets. Save money with Game Time. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. And right now, there are plenty of tickets still available for this Sunday's game. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $20 off your first purchase. That's the best price, plus $20 off with the code LOCKEDONNFL. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. David, we talked about the defensive side of things and now the offensive side of things. Now it's time to talk about how the Chargers get their defense to start playing better and to win this game coming up against the Raiders on Sunday. I mean, this is not a unit that should strike fear into most teams' hearts, but neither were the Tennessee Titans, who have been an absolute train wreck ever since, they played anyone but the Chargers, right? They've been absolutely awful in both of their other two games, besides playing the Chargers and having, Ryan Tannehill have his best career day. And it's so cut and dry, David, what the Chargers need to do.
Yeah.
But it was the same way against Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson and the other teams that they played so far. It's been very easy to know, okay, where do we need to stop this here? And to me, I know we talked a lot about, Davante Adams yesterday too on the crossover episode, but to me, it starts with the dynamic duo. Like if Josh Jacobs and Davante Adams don't have good games in this one, the Raiders don't win. Plain and simple. It's as easy as that. Stopping them is easier said than done. But you have to keep Joshua Jacobs down, man. I mean, 45 carries, 108 yards this year. He's only averaging 2.4 yards per carry. He had a game in which he had 9 carries for -2 yards against the Buffalo Bills. It was ugly. It was ugly.
Bad.
And Q couldn't seem to figure out why they can't figure it out, right?
Yeah.
When you talked to him yesterday, he had 57 yards in the game the Chargers won last year in week 1. Guess how many he had in the loss, right? Over 140. Yeah. Now, he had 144 yards on 26 carries. He bludgeoned them, right? And he got them the win. It has to start there.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't seem like the same person, though. He's the same running back, Daniel. I mean, so far in the beginning of this year, and I know I've said that before. It's not that,
man, but it's the Chargers. It's the Chargers defense, man. What was Alexander Madison doing before last week? What was he doing?
Nothing. Yeah,
no,
nothing.
He didn't look like the same guy. He looked terrible. He was averaging 2.5 yards per carry.
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter what they look like. They're going to try to use them.
Oh, 100%. You have to be ready for that. I mean, the Raiders' offense is definitely 3-pronged. It's Davante Adams, it's Josh Jacobs, and it's Jacoby Myers. You look at the receptions by anybody not named those 3 guys, they have 3 targets. 3 targets. If you're not named Josh Jacobs, Jacoby Myers, or Davante Adams, they have only been targeted 3 times. So you know who they're going to try to use to be able to beat you, and you know you have to do absolutely everything to stop them. Also, you need to attack the football. This is a quarterback in Jimmy G, which, speaking to your boy Q from the Locked On Raiders podcast, he seems pretty convinced that he is going to play, that Jimmy G is going to be your starting quarterback for the Raiders on Sunday. Jimmy does a great job of putting the ball in harm's way. It seems like every ball that he throws a changeup. He throws a floater. He doesn't really throw with much. Yeah, he's a touch passer. He doesn't throw with much velocity, and that definitely puts the ball in harm's way. That's why he has more interceptions than touchdowns thrown this season. So when he does put the ball in harm's way, when that pass rush gets in his face and he panics, he throws the ball up. So the Chargers absolutely need to be in position to take that ball and give it back to Justin Herbert. It's imperative, and it must be a part of the defensive game plan.
Yeah, as much as it is taking care of the football offensively, right? The way you lose to bad teams, you turn the football over and you don't force any takeaways. The Chargers couldn't force any takeaways against that Titans offense that was abysmal every other week, right? That was a huge part of that. And if Jimmy plays, you can see him crumble. Like they stayed in that game last week and made the idiotic decision to end up kicking a field goal down by 8 with no time left.
2:22 left on the clock.
One of the craziest things I've ever seen. But like, if he's playing, he can get rattled for sure. He can get crumbled. They were crumbling him. He held on. He took sacks. And that's one of the reasons most of his passing stats are as good as they are, because he's like historically good. But he takes a lot of sacks too, and a lot of those aren't factoring that into it. And if he does play, or whoever plays, they're going to be going to get up, trying to get it to Davante Adams, right?
Oh yeah.
Last year it was the same thing. You knew who they were going to go to. Obviously, Josh Jacobs was a different player, as you're talking about, right? And it was more alarming then than it is this week. But week 1 last year, he had 10 receptions for 144 yards against the Chargers. Week 13, he had 8 catches for 177 yards.
Sheesh.
Brandon Staley has not been able to take number 1 wide receivers away. It has to stop, man. Like you know exactly who it's going to. Two games last year, he had 21 yards on 18 catches in 2 games. Right? Like that's insane. He's averaging more than 150 yards per game against Brandon Staley's defense. And the big thing will be, hey, how much is J.C. Jackson going to play? He said he's going to play this week. Wish we could talk more about the kind of comments he had about being confused why he was a healthy scratch last week, but we'll save that for the subtext, which I'll tell you about later. I think another thing in this one, David, keep the red zone defense we saw last week at the end and cut out the penalties. I think these are the 2 things where the Chargers will have a better chance to go bury the team they're going to play on Sunday.
The Chargers have 10 third down penalties this season. 10. And oh, by the way, 5 of those came last week against the Vikings.
Yeah.
You can't have that anymore. You cannot, because the Chargers have done a fantastic job of, when they get into 3rd and 5 and longer, of sending the hounds after the quarterback, especially the last couple of games where they have 9 sacks in their last 2 games. So that trend needs to continue. Also, the defense needs to be very aware of Jimmy G's kind of pattern of throwing over the football, or throwing over the middle of the football field. 49 of his 98 dropbacks have been over the middle of the field. That's over half of his passes completed have been over the middle. So those linebackers need to be ready to defend the pass, because Jimmy G is looking over the middle more than half of the time.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, the red zone in the penalties, that's just huge, because, I mean, think about it like this. Like, if the Chargers get 2 stops in the red zone, 1 in each of the first 2 weeks, they're probably 3-0 right now.
100%.
You're probably 3-0. Yeah. If you could have stopped them 1 time from getting a touchdown and had that 4-point swing, the Chargers have lost by 3 points this year and 2 points this year. You're probably 3-0. You know what I'm saying? So, those stops are so crucial. And the best way to let a team stay with you is to give up a touchdown right after you go score a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's how you don't finish the games, and that's what we've seen from the Chargers all so far this year, right? And I think the other big thing, too, is just finding a way to make it work this week, no matter who's out there, right?
Yeah.
Alohi Gilman and Derwin James haven't practiced at all this week. Joey Bosa hasn't practiced at all this week and added a toe to the injury report as if the hamstring wasn't enough, right?
Gosh.
You also have Kenneth Murray, who's been banged up, limited participant. Deion Henley, thankfully, is off of the injury report now. But, Dave, this is a banged up unit the Chargers could be sending in there this week. I mean, but there's still no excuses. Like, with whoever they have should be plenty. But, I mean, the Chargers always should have enough.
Yeah, I mean, you know that this Raiders offense is going to try to run the football on you. They're going to try to keep away, and they're going to try to force feed Davante Adams as much as possible. You know the game plan, so it shouldn't be a surprise. Now it's to go out there and execute. I mean, you know what you need to do. So it's the time for talk. It's all done. You have to go out there, get on the field, play the right leverages, make sure that you are playing to your help, and go win the football game.
Yeah, and not only win it, but go win it convincingly, right? Go punish them. Go bury them. That's what we want to see. That's what, they should be doing to a team like the one they're going up against. The Raiders have some good players. Davante Adams is a stud. Josh Jacobs is great. Max Crosby is awesome. Doesn't matter. Like, the Chargers have more good players. They should be going and winning this game convincingly. And we're going to tell you if we think they're going to get it done, and also get into our bold and game predictions, as well as telling you something new we're pretty excited about for more. If every day wasn't enough, how about really, really every day? We're going to talk about that coming up right after this. First, though, I do need to tell you guys about our friends at eBay Motors, because we have teamed up with them, and they've teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Football host Vinny Iyer to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are a guaranteed fit on your roster. So let's see who Vinny has picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. Stay with me here, folks. I know you're not going to like where this starts, but Broncos running back Javonte Williams has gotten a healthy 48 opportunities in the first 3 games, but so far has managed only 180 scrimmage yards and 0 touchdowns. Oh no. During the team's 0-3 start, expect the volume to finally convert into true fantasy production for Williams as Denver gets the wilting Bears defense in Chicago in week 4. The Bears are a mess. The Bears have given up plenty of overall yardage and scoring juice to backs through the first 3 weeks, and Williams will be the latest to take advantage as a runner and an outlet receiver. I know I'm using another team's player that we don't like, right? I'm definitely hoping he has a big week because I have Javonte Williams on my fantasy team, and he is overdue for a big game. So let's hope that Williams gets a bunch of points in garbage time as the Broncos hopefully lose by another 50 points against the Bears this weekend. So Vinny Iyer from Locked On Fantasy Football is going to help you win your fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride is always running smoothly with brake kits, LED headlights, a roof rack, bumpers, whatever your baby needs. eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebay.com/motors. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. David, I want to thank the everydayers out there, for always being here and giving us the best start to the season that we've ever had. And I can't wait to get into our bold and game predictions for this one. I'm 0-3 so far. Maybe I should pick the Chargers to lose. I don't know. They didn't get the tie last week. I was really hoping for the tie, but I'll take the win.
You were.
But thank you guys for checking us out, and make sure you're back here on Sunday because we are your team every day for the post-game show. Win or lose, hard or easy, we're always going to be here. But before we get into our bold predictions, there is something pretty cool, David, that we want to tell people about, because if you didn't think 5 days of this show was enough, I have an opportunity for you guys because we're actually starting something pretty cool, and we would love to invite you guys to the Locked On Chargers subtext, which is our new exclusive SMS service. Somewhere we get all of our thoughts that don't fit into the show. Basically, you can try it for free. It's going to be an exclusive thing for me and David where you can text us directly, right? You don't have to wait for Chargers mailbag day, even though you will get, some priority on Chargers mailbag days for sure. You can get our answer right away. You can text us anytime, day or night, message directly with us, and it'll be, the first place where we give our reactions to everything that happens. A lot of times we can't wait to get on the show so we can tell you guys about stuff. On the new subtext service, we will be there to answer and react to things right away. I can't wait to get all of the extra thoughts and things. There are more, right, that we can't fit in the show, and that's what we're really excited about. There will be a link in the show notes on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast today. If you guys want to try it out, it's absolutely free for the first 14 days. Obviously, after that, it costs $4.99 a month, and if you don't have to opt into that if you don't want to. But I would encourage you guys to give it a shot because we are really excited about it. We're really excited to – this show's about you guys. It always has been, right? So we're excited for an extra way to give you guys more content, for you guys to have an easier way to get through to us, especially when the chaos of Sundays and everything. It'll be a great place for all of us to vent together. So excited about that. Excited. Hopefully you guys will try it out and do it with us. We will definitely have some J.C. Jackson thoughts later because there was some weird stuff going on there. We said we thought there was more there. Definitely seems like it after his latest comments. So let's get into our bold predictions, David. Let's start with the offense this week in a huge game for the Chargers. Who are you going with?
Yeah, I mean, one of the position groups that need to kind of pick up the slack now that there's been some injuries to the wide receiver room is the tight end room. And I feel like Donald Parham Jr. is a guy who is capable of more than just scoring touchdowns in the red zone. So I think he's going to have a very good game in this one. I'm going to go 6 catches, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Donald Parham Jr.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think the other big thing you didn't mention there is Gerald Everett's been out all week with an illness, right? And that's an important part of it. So Gerald Everett, Corey Linsley, two guys that haven't practiced all week with an illness. I'd like to say with an illness and not something structurally wrong with their body or something. Hey, they have a better chance than they would, normally have not practicing all week. But let's be honest, this could look like a completely different team when Sunday gets here. That's part of the reason this game is has so much kind of up in the air, right? But I'm going to go with the Chargers rushing attack. I think they get back on track this week. I know you went Josh Kelly last week. I'm going to go Austin Eckler today. I'm going to say Austin Eckler plays in this upcoming game, and the Chargers rush for 150 and 2 touchdowns. Like I said, I still believe in the scheme. I think it's a much better scheme than it was before.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's been much more matchup dependent on why the Chargers haven't been able to run the ball the last couple games. Either getting blitzed every time or going up against Jeffrey Simmons. So I think that's a bigger part of it than it is the scheme. I think they get back on track. Defensively, David, I'm going with the wonderkin, Tuipulotu, I'm going with this week. I'm going to say Tuli gets 2.5 sacks and a forced fumble. The Raiders line has been pretty good in pass pro. That's why this is, a bold prediction and makes it into this part. But Tuli dominated 2 really, really good tackles last week in Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw. 12 pressures the past 2 weeks. I think he keeps it going this week. With Joey Bosa still banged up, I think we're going to see this man be an absolute menace again on Sunday.
Yeah, I can totally see it, especially because, they've been pass protecting fairly well, except for the last game against the Pittsburgh Steelers where they gave up 4 sacks.
Well, and a big part of that was because they were down, right? And that goes into everything else we've been saying throughout the show. Like, if you can get up on them, if they're trying to come back against you, if you're putting them in a bunch of bad situations, you'll be able to get home.
Everything's more effective with a lead. My defensive bold prediction is going to be centered around JT Woods. I think JT Woods is going to have his first signature performance as a NFL pro. I'm going 8 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and his first NFL interception.
I love that. It would be huge. That is one of the places I'm most concerned about easily going into this weekend. If Derwin James and Alohi Gilman can't play, you're probably talking about a rotation of JT Woods, Raheem Lane, an undrafted free agent, and then Dean Marlowe, right, who was picked up this year on the practice squad. And that is not a unit that inspires a ton of hope. That's, if he could have that game in this one, I think that would be huge. Now it's time to get into our game predictions, David. Last week I picked the Chargers to tie. I can promise you I'm not picking them to tie this week. Go ahead and kick us off, David. Who do you think wins? What do you think the score is?
Yeah, so I think the Chargers are going to have a more balanced attack in this one. I do feel like they're going to be able to gash the Raiders on the ground while also mixing in some big, explosive, deep shots. I feel like they're going to convert on a couple of those. I think the Chargers are going to get up early, and I think they're going to stay up, and I think they're going to get their first double-digit win of the season. And they better, because it's my birthday weekend on Saturday, so they owe me this one. But I'm going 34-20. Chargers win big.
Please do it for David. He deserves it. He's had to go through a lot like the rest of the Chargers fans out there. I had something similar. I had Chargers 31-20. I think they get up. I think the Raiders make a push to get back into the game, but I think trying to come back from an early deficit, especially a big one against this pass rush with Tuipulotu kind of breaking out like we've seen him this year, I don't think it's a good combination. I think the J.C. Jackson of it all defensively is going to be huge. I think which safeties play. Brandon Staley said Alohi Gilman was bumps and bruises after the game, right? So you have to hope that he's going to be able to come back even after not being able to practice. Derwin James, he said it was nothing to worry about after his, but the bye week is in week 5. And that just feels like it's kind of lingering over this team. But the Chargers have plenty. The Raiders are a total mess right now. Go finish them. Go into the bye week 2-2. Get it done. But thank you guys for checking out today's show. As always, we always appreciate you. Make sure you're back here on Sunday for the post-game show. Hopefully, we'll see you guys in the subtext. Definitely going to get in there after this and talk about some J.C. Jackson stuff, because that is one of the big things. And it's weird because he's coming off one of his better games as a Charger against the Titans. He was like one of the only good defensive players in that game. So it's been a weird situation. It seems like there's a lot to unpack there. A lot of, hey, it's above my head kind of thing. So, and another important thing about subtext, it's not going to change the show at all, right? But we only get to go Monday through Friday on Locked On Chargers podcast. There's a lot of thoughts we have, Friday nights, Saturdays during the day, pregame. That's when we're going to be talking about a lot of that stuff. But you guys can find the show free every day, as you always have, on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribing there so you never miss the show, or following us wherever you get your podcast from. Thank you again to everyone who left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That has continued to just blow me away, and they keep coming in. I'm going to shout you guys out again soon because there's a lot more names I have to shout out. But you can also find the show every day on all of our social media. You can find us on Twitter. We're calling it Twitter now forever, at Locked On LAC. You can find me at Dan Talk Sports and David Drogemeyer at Dro Talk SD as well as on Instagram at Locked On Chargers and our Locked On Chargers Facebook page. David, What are we thinking this week? If you had 3 letters to describe this weekend, what would you end up going with?
There's only 3 that come to mind, Daniel, and it's FTR.
Make sure you're back here for the post-game show talking about hopefully a huge win over the Raiders on Sunday. But until then, guys, take it easy and go Bolts.